Hi, I'm Sam Hales on the set of The Chosen in Texas. Season 3 is being filmed right now. I was on set yesterday to see some of it, and I'm delighted to say that I am joined now by Noah and Yoshi, who play Andrew and Philip, the disciples in The Chosen. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to get some time with you and chat about all things The Chosen. It's become a global phenomenon, obviously. I'm over from London to come and speak to you. Many millions of viewers now all over the world, and the target is 1 billion. Does that factor into your thinking much on sets of thinking how many people are watching this and will we get to 1 billion?
I mean, even 1 million, I don't even know what that means. So 1 billion, I'm no, that's
It honestly becomes, it's not something that you can take too personally because otherwise your head will explode. And so when we get to set, we just try to do the best work that we can do. And even when people come up to us and talk to us, at restaurants or on the street, there has to be a little bit of a healthy disconnect, I feel like, so that we know people really love the show. But if we take that in too much, it almost will ruin your psyche. So it's wonderful, and then we just have to sort of get into the weeds and do the work.
You want to keep the pressure off, of course, don't you?
Right.
You want to relax and enjoy filming and not be
Yes.
worrying about how many people are watching.
No, we're just worrying about doing a good job. Even if 2 people watched, we're like, but was it good? Yeah.
I don't know that the impact will fully hit us until we're all done with season 7. I think when we're older men looking back, we'll fully sort of understand what we were a part of. But right now we're in it and we're doing it.
Yeah. So tell me a bit about season 3. What scenes are you most excited about?
Well, I think the big one that is sort of out there and that we can even talk about is the feeding of the 5,000 happens this season, and there's a lot of lead up and building of tensions and bubbling over into that moment, and I think people sort of may take for granted what that will be like, but I don't think the audience understands all of the roads that will lead to that moment, and it makes the miracle that much more impactful because you see how it affects each disciple on their journey there, how it affects the surrounding areas, all the people, 5,000 people. So it's and just the actual filming of that. We had 5,000 people one day, another 5,000 people the next day, a few thousand stayed over, and it was 100 degrees Fahrenheit, not Celsius. And we died during the filming. And it was just a really, really special time to film, and probably the hardest thing, I would say, the hardest thing we've done in the show so far. Not even close. It was just so challenging to film that, but I think it will be really rewarding to see the final product.
Tell me a bit more about why it's challenging, because I've heard rumours that there are even, I use the word advisedly, miracles taking place around some of the filming of The Chosen, or unlikely things that seem to have happened, things falling into place. Can you give us some insight into what all that is about?
I think it's fitting that we don't know what comfort means anymore as far as performing goes. I mean, it's become a joke at this point where our director Dallas will start the day saying okay guys, appreciate your patience. We're gonna be in this tiny room all day with no AC, and it's gonna be really difficult. So it's gonna be uncomfortable, but just stay with it. And it's kind of become a joke. When is there gonna be a day where Dallas starts by saying, okay guys, so it's gonna be a really nice, comfortable day, because we don't know what comfort means anymore. It's either always 0 degrees or 100 degrees. So that's always something that we're contending to, but I think it's fitting for the subject matter that we're exploring, because these actual human beings are living a life that's void of luxury. They're actually on the road, sleeping on the dirt, starving usually, always sort of unintentionally fasting. So it helps us as actors to not just be phonies pretending to do something. We're actually out there suffering too. And so yeah, it's a blessing, and at the end of every day, it feels like we've been through it, though.
Yeah, it helps to hour 5, and then past hour 5, we're like, what universe are we in right now? What are our lines? How do we speak anymore? we have to like keep towels and stuff down our wardrobe because otherwise they're just like, oh, it's a different color wardrobe because you have just walked out of the ocean onto the set. That's what
It's
we
making
look like.
us better performers, though. I think like we're trained. We're like boxers who are like going through like the like most difficult regiment ever. So now when we take on a project in the future, it's gonna be like, oh wow, like this is actually kind of easy and fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's flushing out our expectations pretty nicely. To answer your question more intently, which was what again? It was.
Well, I will say that the about the sort of mini miracles or the
right. That's what I wanted to
yeah,
touch on.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Oh, yeah. No, that's definitely been something that's a recurring theme on our show, which again is fitting. There's been many times. I think the one that comes to mind most easily is the Oneer. Have you heard of this? Season 2, we did a 15-minute, 15-page Oneer, which basically means that it's one shot that doesn't cut. And it started on my character and Matthew and ended on the whole group. And so on that day, we basically spent half the day rehearsing, and then we knew we had probably 3 attempts to get this Oneer. And an actor would mess up, or the camera operator who was suffering the whole time because he could barely hold the thing like halfway through the scene. He would maybe collapse. It came to the point where the sun wasn't right because it was casting shadows. So we're like, okay, we're gonna take a break, and we have one more shot at this at sunset at golden hour. If we don't get it, we're done. We're screwed. So we start the scene, and an actor messes up right away, and we're like, oh, we're done. And we're like, all right, let's just try one more. This is it, though. Everyone needs to show up on this take. And it was one of those sort of miraculous moments because it worked, and there was a moment even with me as an actor where I almost messed up, and you can kind of see it if you look carefully in the scene. I like forget my line in a moment when the camera finds me, and I go, I think they got here last night, like I barely got the line out. And so we barely got through it, and he calls cut at the end. The camera guy collapses on the floor. He's just out of breath. They bring water to him, and we look around at each other like, did we get it? Like, did we get it? And our director starts crying. It's just like this huge thing, like, wow, we barely got it. And if we had messed up one more time, I don't think we would ever gotten that scene done, so.
Amazing. The Chosen is unique in many different ways, but one of the most obvious ones is the spiritual nature of it. Does that come across on set? Because it's more than a piece of entertainment. There might be other projects you're working on where it's fantastic entertainment, but it's rare perhaps to be working in a TV series that is entertaining, but it's deeper than that. And for a lot of viewers, there's immense spiritual meaning behind really everything you're doing. How much does that factor into your thinking?
I think that when I came onto the set for the first time in season 1, I was like immediately struck by how lovely of a set it was, how amazing of a crew and cast, and just, there's like a cliche of like the disgruntled, whatever, but while filming, because it's a tough job. Every part of filming is tough. It's a tough job. It's not a cushy lifestyle. And the set, the cast and crew is so wonderful, so lovely. Best I've ever sort of been a part of for this amount of time. We are so lucky to be working with the people that we're working with. And so I think that starts at the top, and that there's just this effort to really put our all into this story and be as respectful as possible, but also just bring our entire humanity to it, each one of us, and Dallas leading and just really trying to put his entire life into telling the story of Jesus. And it's really been an unbelievably moving thing to be a part of.
Yeah. You said that it's a tough job, which made me smile because I think there's a lot of misconceptions about what you guys do as actors, but maybe even misconceptions about The Chosen. What are those misconceptions? You might even hear from fans about how they think it all works. You think, that's not actually quite right. We need to correct that.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, like, acting is pretty easy compared to everything else. Not everything else, but It's definitely difficult to do it well, I think, and that is a lot of showing up and releasing your preconceived ideas of how it's supposed to go, surrendering to the moment, checking your ego at the door, balancing what you think what your vision is with what the director's vision is, and sort of doing a dance with him or her to find the sort of like birth child of whatever that's going to be. And I think that maybe a misconception is that, you show up and just, read some lines and it works out, because oftentimes whatever's happening, there's going to be something not working that day. And so all of our jobs is to sort of work around that and make something out of the failure that has arisen.
Yeah, you have to be constantly vulnerable in your work and on the day when you are like sweating buckets and hungry in the sun, and I even joke, we used to have a thing called Diva of the Week, where we would go, who was the Diva of the Week? Who won that prize?
Fiji water.
Yeah, who would be demanding their Fiji water? But it is a joke because we're all like, holding umbrellas for 13 hours of the day because the sun is like blaring, and we don't get to like kind of go away. There's nowhere to go. I think one day when we were filming the lead up to the feeding of the 5,000, we were in that field for like, I think 12 or 13 hours. This field, we're getting bit up. I still have bug bites. This was months ago.
Texas has these bugs called chiggers, and they're actually parasites that burrow into your skin and live there.
We don't know if this is, yes.
What's the time? I think my flight.
Exactly.
I gotta go.
Yeah.
Stay
out of the field.
There's a lot of room. I can't suss out what the rumors and the reality about these bugs are. But anyway, I probably have 30 in my...
We worked on one scene for a week where we were sitting in these fields just being bitten all day.
Wow.
And like he said, like some of us still have those, like they're almost like chicken pox, like that remain. So.
And we're holding these umbrellas, and you go like, when's the last time you were outside in the like dead of summer in the sun for 13 hours? It's like, what? And then, so it's not just that, and the sunscreen is like melting into your eyes. And then finally they come to your coverage and you're like, I can't even look. I can't keep. And they're like, can you open your eyes? You're like, I don't think I can. And then you're trying to be vulnerable and really play the scene. And it can be challenging. But I do want to say, we do get to hold umbrellas. The crew is like, they have some of the toughest jobs on a film set, and they are like super people. They are doing such a good job. And what you see on the screen is only because of the cast and crew, mainly the crew, making it look and feel the way that it does.
Well, Noah and Yoshi, it's been fantastic to chat about The Chosen Season 3. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to get out of here before those bugs bite me. That sounds terrifying.
Watch
Absolutely
out.
terrifying.